Sony's Concord, a game that was supposed to launch PlayStation into a new era of hero shooters, but instead, it crashed and burned faster than anyone could have predicted. Just a few months back, PlayStation's State of Play teased us with this ambitious new IP, promising a rich universe and iconic characters in a bold, team-based shooter. But when the gameplay previews rolled in, excitement fizzled fast. A $40 hero shooter in a market already overflowing with free options, it didn't sit well. By launch, the writing was already on the wall. Concord was doomed. But no one expected just how quickly things would spiral. From barely hitting 1,000 players on launch day to Sony pulling the plug in record time, today we're diving deep into what might just be one of the most shocking flops in gaming history. So, let's rewind to the initial reveal. A few months ago, Sony announced Concord at the State of Play event in May. The reveal was cinematic, hinting at a vast, futuristic universe and giving us glimpses of heroes we'd potentially come to love, or at least that was the hope. Sony made a big deal out of the reveal, setting up the expectation that Concord would be the next big thing in hero shooters. The trailer hinted at something truly grand. Interstellar adventures, a lively cast, and team-based gameplay that would blow us away. However, that hype quickly deflated. When actual gameplay previews started surfacing, it became obvious that Concord was heading down a rough road. Here's the big question. Why would Sony pour millions into a hero shooter, a genre already crowded with established, successful games like Overwatch, Apex Legends, and countless others? The genre has struggled to keep new titles afloat, especially with so many free-to-play options. And yet, here comes Concord with a $40 price tag, entering a market that really didn't need it. The gaming community wasn't buying it. Literally. Concord looked like a poorly conceived clone of Guardians of the Galaxy, but without the charm. And to make matters worse, its character designs and writing were widely criticized as bland. It's as if Sony was trying to tick boxes instead of creating a game that felt fresh and exciting. Now let's talk about the beta. This is where things became painfully clear. Gamers who got early access to Concord reported a pretty underwhelming experience. It wasn't bad enough to be laughable, but it wasn't even close to being engaging or unique. It was just generic. Beta players shared that Concord lacked any original mechanics or features that would set it apart. Everything about it, from the heroes to the combat, felt like it was copied and pasted from other games, but without any polish or creativity. In an era when players are spoiled for choice, Concord gave them no reason to jump in. Spending $40 on this game felt like a stretch when there were free alternatives with richer, more developed gameplay. Then came launch day on August 23rd, and the response was shocking. Despite 8 years of development and an estimated $100 million budget, Concord could barely scrape together 1,000 players on Steam on day one. And in just a week, those numbers dropped to double digits. On PlayStation, the player count barely hit an estimated 25,000, based on PSN's trophy tracking system. For a Sony-backed game, these are dismal numbers. To make matters worse, Valve decided to throw a curveball. On the very same day Concord launched, they opened up public testing for their own hero shooter, Deadlock. Unlike Concord, Deadlock was an instant success, amassing over 100,000 players on day one. Sony's hero shooter was already facing an uphill battle, but Deadlock practically buried it. Barely 2 weeks after launch, Sony did what nobody saw coming. They pulled the plug on Concord. In a rare move, Sony offered full refunds to everyone who purchased the game digitally. Physical buyers unfortunately had to rely on store policies for returns. This brings us to the bigger picture. Sony has been pushing live service games hard, even shutting down their renowned Japan studio to pivot resources. And all this just for Concord to flop spectacularly? Sony's executives made a risky call. one that seemed out of touch with what gamers actually wanted to. Here's a funny twist. Sony had invested in a full episode about Concord for their upcoming anthology series, Secret Level. Now, more people might end up watching that episode about the game than ever played Concord itself. It's a bizarre legacy, to say the least. And there you have it, Sony's Concord, a game meant to take us on an epic space journey, but instead ended up as one of the fastest failures we've seen. From a crowded genre to misguided executive decisions, Concord fell victim to the very industry it tried to win over. What do you think about Concord's downfall? Should Sony rethink its live service strategy, or was this a one-off misfire? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more gaming insights. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.